Is it? This is an aerial view of Joel Osteen's house. Same Joel Osteen that wouldn't let the homeless sleep in his church when there was a catastrophic emergency. You're completely comfortable giving your money to these pastors, to buy their mansions while people in your city go hungry because you've bought into the Christianity of capitalism, forgetting, in fact, that the early Christians were actually socialists. If you had a Bible that you had bothered to read. On Acts chapter 2, verse 44, all the believers were together and had everything in common, selling their possessions and goods they gave to anyone as he had need. That doesn't sound like a capitalist with a private jet, does it to you? You ignore Christ's directive to love your neighbor as yourself. You ignore the 2,000 commandments to help the poor. Meanwhile, also voting against policies that do help the poor, SNAP benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, feeding kids school lunches. While you claim to be pro-life, but really you're actually pro-birth because you don't give a shit what happens to that kid after birth. And you don't want any programs to help single mothers pay for their kids when the father runs out on them because you only hold women accountable for sexual sin. Your righteousness extends only as far as you can serve judgment on others, which is why you cherry pick verses that are mistranslated out of the Old Testament to condemn the LGBT community so that you can feel holier than they are. Let's take it a step further. I'll offend some people. Let's talk about church history. You want to know how I know the Bible hasn't been working in your churches? The existence of the black church. Because the existence of the black church is a condemnation on the church at large. Because if the church at any point cared as much about being a Christian and loving God as they cared about being white, the black church wouldn't exist. And that's before I get to the fact that evangelicals like Jerry Falwell fought against civil rights and against desegregation. And as soon as desegregation passed, they opened private white schools so that their kids wouldn't have to go to school with black kids. And now the voucher programs going around all these conservative states are an attempt to basically reinstate segregation using your tax dollars. Anybody in the service industry will tell you that the worst day to work is Sundays because y'all are the rudest, cheapest motherfuckers that come in. You treat people like you're slaves. You treat people like you're better than them because you genuinely think you are. So let's recap. You don't give to the poor in or outside of your church. You actually vote against policies to help those poor. You don't feed kids. You don't take care of orphans. You don't take care of widows. You use the Bible in a cherry-picked fashion to abuse people that you don't like and completely break the laws that appear most frequently in the Bible. The church slanders the poor while demonizing the immigrant. And let's pop over to John 13:34. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Do you want to know what the most common sentiment towards Christians online is, both from ex-Christians and non-religious people? That there is no hate like Christian love. Y'all are known for your hate. You are recognized by your vitriol. No, the Bible is not working in your church.